right, this is episode 201. Before you listen to this, I invite everybody to definitely go listen to our 200th episode. We had a real good show there, and the 200th after show is going to be a blasty blast. As of the time I'm saying this, it's not up yet, but we're doing things a little bit out of order on our end, but it'll be in order on your end. Little retcon in there from on my end.
This is the new year for people.
Yeah, this technically is the first podcast we've recorded this year. The
21 days.
episode 200 was released, I think, January the 3rd, 2nd.
Third, yeah.
It was released on the 3rd, but it was recorded New Year's Eve or New Year's Day.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah. So yeah, this will be the first podcast we recorded in 2024.
Our Lord and Savior, the year 2024.
I came across an article that I thought was interesting because the idea is when you create a character or anything you create, it's copyrighted, but the copyright only lasts so long, and then it becomes public domain. An example of that we've seen recently is Winnie the Pooh went to public domain, and they made that horror movie, Blood and Honey.
I've noticed some cartoon like drawings or something.
So you can record, write, do anything with that. Well, not necessarily anything, but you can do your own Winnie the Pooh thing and not get sued.
Well, on that, Sherlock Holmes is a big thing of that. That's why you've got so many.
If you've ever seen League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, that's all that is a compilation of public domain characters. All the characters: Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, Alan Quatermain, Dracula,
Dorian Yates.
Yeah.
Dorian Gray.
Dorian Gray. All that's just a guy I knew in combination of all your public domain characters thrown together.
In music, it's a little bit different, but it's also a little bit simpler. Basically, if I recorded me singing and playing Enter Sandman and released it, Metallica's lawyers might have something to say about it. And if I didn't go through the proper channels.
Yeah.
But now the way music works, it's 50 years after whoever wrote it passes away. In movies, it doesn't matter who is alive or dead. From the time the character was created, you got 95 years. And a lot of our favorite characters were written in the late 30s, early 40s.
Well, I don't know if this is the reason you brought that up, but the original Mickey Mouse just went public domain.
Which is going to be interesting because, again, you could write a little Mickey Mouse cartoon if you wanted to.
But it has to be the original Mickey Mouse.
Yes. And if you look at the Mickey Mouse from 1930, whatever, to the one you see today, it's way different. Like, they don't even resemble each other. And they brought that up about, which is what I'm going to. I have a list of within hopefully our lifetime, within a decade or so, some of our favorite characters are going to be jumping over to the public domain. And I'm wondering how it's going to affect a lot of things.
Yeah, we're going to get cheesy people throwing out Batman movies or Superman movies, or
they kind of already
already do that.
Well, yeah, but
okay, Mickey Mouse was 2024. Pluto will be 2026. Donald Duck will be 2030. Superman will follow Donald Duck in 2034. So that's just 10 years from now. All the character from J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit will be public domain in 2033. Can you imagine in 2033 how many Hobbit and Lord of the Rings stuff is going to come out?
Oh, God.
And then you got in 2035, which is just a year after Superman, you got Batman going public domain. Then you got Shazam. You got the Jay Garrick version of the Flash. So see, there you go. The current Flash is Barry Allen, but originally it was Jay Garrick. So if you do something with the Flash in 2036, you can still get sued unless it's Jay Garrick. And it has to be the Jay Garrick with the funny helmet with the little ears on it. Captain America is going to be 2036, Aquaman 2037, and Wonder Woman 2037. So that's just 12 years away. This entire list will be public domain character. Well, you got to think, once Superman came out, they were off to the races with comic book superheroes. Like, they just kept cranking them out because Superman did so well. The Joker,
Superman wasn't the first one, was it? It was the Phantom.
Yeah, but the Phantom never really made it into the comic book world. It kind of stayed along.
But I'm talking about he was kind of the first
superhero, yeah,
comic superhero of sorts.
But when Superman made his debut in Action Comics, that's what started the superhero trend we have today. The Phantom never made it into a comic book, really. He was with like Dick Tracy and all that. Because what it was is the funny papers were just in newspapers, and they called them comic strips because they were all funny. Mm-hmm. Well, then they started doing serious ones, and then they started doing superhero stuff like the Phantom and stuff like that.
Dick Tracy.
And Dick Tracy. There's several actually. So, but they still called them comics. And the first original comic books, and I'm using quotes, was just comic strips that they put together in a book and started selling. So that's why they're still called comics today, even though there's no comedy about them. Mm-hmm. In most of them, anyway. I guess unless you buy an Archie comic. So that's gonna be an interesting thing to happen in just a few short years from now, is to see how people get. And you're living in this viral YouTube world where people can make their own shit and they can get it crowdfunded, where people pump in sometimes tens of thousands of dollars to fund this project, and then you come out and there'll be a damn Justice League movie in the next 15 years that Warner Brothers isn't really a part of. Mm-hmm. But again, Superman, when he came out, he could leap tall buildings in a single bound. He didn't even really fly. They said he was faster than a locomotive, and it showed him running alongside of a train and keeping up with it. I mean, the first day appearance,
I thought it was stronger than a locomotive, faster than
a speeding bullet. That's right.
Yeah, that's it.
So he had like flash speed, but he didn't really fly. And I don't think he used laser eyes until later. The whole frost breath thing came later. That one weird ass thing he did in Superman 2, where he pulled that thing out of his chest and threw it at those people. You remember that? They brought that up on Family Guy. They did a little skit of that. It showed the Zod people, the people from the Phantom Zone, and he was talking to him, and he pulled that thing out of his chest and threw it on him. And somebody went, "Wait, whoa, what was that? Why have you never used that before? Like, that could have came in handy in a lot of your battles."
Into a mirror.
They like turned into this big clear thing and wrapped them up like in a shell. And
they were like a picture.
They're like, whoa,
like a living picture.
Why have you never done that in all these years? And
now there's something to do with public domain. I know, especially with the Sherlock Holmes stuff.
So let's think about
everything, but you have to. It has to stay in the same.
So let's think about that in another light of like right now we have a distinct DC universe and a distinct Marvel universe. Just think about that. In 12 years, they could make a Captain America versus Superman movie and nobody could stop them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you start getting those crossovers.
Once the public
nobody
domain,
can stop them. I mean, you could have a Captain America versus Superman, or Captain, and at some point you can have a Captain Marvel versus Captain Marvel. Because, Shazam was the original Captain Marvel, but they never trademarked the name Captain Marvel. So then when Marvel came out with their character, Captain Marvel.
I'd forgotten about
that.
Shazam just
stuck to Shazam, yeah.
Yeah.
But Shazam's name was Captain Marvel, but they had never trademarked it. The name Captain Marvel. So Marvel ended up kind of stealing it, sort of.
Yeah, there is some rules that you have to, some guidelines you have to follow in doing public domain stuff. I know Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's estate, I guess, they still have overall say in Sherlock Holmes, even though it is a public domain thing now.
But I mean, that's why you get those movies. That's why there's a million Dracula movies, just because anybody can make a Dracula movie.
Anybody can
make a Frankenstein movie. And anybody can make a Sherlock Holmes or a Alan Quatermain or a Tom Sawyer, or that's another one. I can't believe they haven't really updated and redone, was like Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn,
Well, the same with the Alan Quatermain. I mean, nothing's ever been done with it other than League of
Well, they did the Alan Quatermain movies, those that were kind of they did them when they came out with Indiana Jones. It was for the most part just an Indiana Jones ripoff from those Alan Quatermain, Lost City of Gold, and those old movies.
They didn't do too good
with that. It was I can't remember the guy's name now that played in it. He was a soap opera star that played in it. I don't remember his name.
See if I can find out real quick.
And he played, I think they did like 2 or 3 movies about it. Because I'm wanting to say, if I'm not mistaken, I'm wanting to say James Earl Jones was in one of them. Was in maybe Lost City of Gold.
They had some movies in 85. It was King Solomon's Mine.
Yeah. That was one of them. And then
Richard Chamberlain played Alan.
That's who it was. Yeah.
I'm only pulling up the one movie.
Well, maybe I've got them mixed up then. Maybe that was the only one. But it was the one with Richard Chamberlain, because I remember he was a soap opera star for a while.
No, let me take that back. There was another one in the Lost City of Gold.
Yeah, that's the one I remember.
Come out in 86. And yep, James Earl Jones was in it.
Yeah, I was thinking he was in one of those. I remember watching them.
Poppy guys.
They were kind of off. They made them a lot like Indiana Jones. And that's probably why they put them out, was because of the fame of Indiana Jones.
There's a new badass Indiana Jones game about to come out. I've got it on my wish list on Steam.
Well, Indiana Jones was the character, was the template. The template for Indiana Jones, was Alan Quatermain's character.
The Lost Kingdom. You remember that?
The Lost City of Gold.
Oh, yeah, the Lost City of Gold.
Yeah, you had King Solomon's Mine and the Lost City.
Yeah, those are good movies. That he was he looked just like Indiana Jones, because I wondered myself as a kid who came first. But going back to what we were saying earlier about the copyright thing, I think what's going to happen is this weird shift, and you may have already covered this because you were starting to talk about that.
Well, no, we just kind of gave some examples.
The fan fiction stuff, the stuff that's fan made, is almost going to reboot back to the golden age in a way, because you're going to have almost like an Adam Westian Batman, like the classic Superman. I doubt they're going to go around and tell kids to brush their teeth and do their homework, but they're almost going to have this otherworldly thing, unless they want to keep making them like they are now and make them quote unquote non-profit. But
now, see, you just brought something up. The Batman is getting released. Is it going to be the Adam West Batman?
Well, they, in one of the articles I read, they were interviewing 2 entertainment lawyers, and they said that yes, Superman and Batman and all of them are going to be public domain, and you can make a Batman thing and you can even sell it and you won't get in trouble, but there are perimeters. And that's probably most likely, if Warner Brothers goes after you for making a Superman movie, if you make it just like or too close to a current Superman, they may try to say, well, the Superman from 1939 is not the Superman that we have today, and it's not the one you use in your movie.
But you could get a lot of cool retro movies.
That's what I'm saying. It's almost going to be like a golden age of movies. if you want to make them profit movies, which, you know, they're kind of loose with the, you know, especially those crowd-funded movies that get like $100,000 and they go and make them and they're like, well, this is a non-profit movie. I'm like, well, yeah, some people got paid though. I mean, you know, they did. The movie itself can't make any money.
Yeah.
Because then Warner Brothers is going to be like, hey, you just made money off of our property.
Give me part of it.
Or just like if you recorded Sweet Child of Mine, you bet Guns N' Roses lawyers are going to be like, hey, whoa. No, that's not happening.
Yeah, where's our cut?
And you know, this kind of keeps in the same world of our nerddom. Did you watch Supernatural? I know Cal did.
Off and on.
I started a few months ago and I'm on season 5 now. And I always thought they have such kick-ass music in that show. Like every episode's got like freaking AC/DC and Metallica and like 80s, a lot of 80s metal, because like that's what Dean's into, because that's what his dad.
A lot of 70s and 80s metal.
70s and 80s hard rock and metal. And I remember, and this connects the wrestling world. I remember one time, because you know, the pay-per-views, the wrestling pay-per-views always had like badass theme music. And Vince McMahon, I remember him saying that he always wanted to use AC/DC for as a theme for one of the pay-per-views, but he couldn't afford the licensing. And I'm like, and I looked it up because I was like, how is that show getting away with using such awesome? But it turns out that like what you would have to pay the television studio is like a monthly fee that's probably like $5,000 or something to have a song featured in an episode. Whereas in a movie, you know, AC/DC's record label may charge you $1 million to put it in.
Well, you know, now like Edge is using his same theme song in AEW, and they were asking him how he got by with that. Well, they had to re-record it. They couldn't use the same voice. You know, that woman's voice says, "You think you know me?"
Oh yeah.
Well, they had to re-record that, and it says instead of "you think you know me," it's like "you think you know." It says something different. There's one word off. I can't remember, but it's a different recording. But now
you think you know you.
The Alter Bridge version of his song is still the same, but that's because Edge was the one that got Alter Bridge.
You know, that makes sense because there have been some bands that went back and re-recorded like instead of just releasing the greatest hits, they re-recorded their greatest hits and put them out, or re-recorded a classic album to get out from under the copyright ownership that a record label or whoever may still have. It's confusing as hell, but it's actually even simpler in the music world than it is in movies, because you have like BMI and ASCAP and those companies that get involved for licensing, and now you got that online thing that's just blown it wide open and made it really hard and convoluted. But it's going to make things interesting and challenging because everybody still wants to make money, and they're still going to make money on Batman movies. It's just
that here's the thing too,
other people may have a chance to make some cool shit too.
Here's the thing too, though. If you're, let's say you're in a movie company and Warner Brothers is the ones that's making all these DC, you know, Batman, Superman movies, right? Well, think about it. If you're in another company, even a large corporation company, like, you know that you can't go within those perimeters and make as good a movie as, because you don't have the money. You
don't have a studio behind you.
Yeah. And so what's the point in releasing one if you know it's not going to do anything anyway? If, you know, you'd have to make a really good movie, and they could do a lot of those.
There's been a handful of some crowdfunded ones that really, like Terrifier and Terrifier 2 broke the record for the highest profitable movie that did not have a studio backing behind it. It just had
independent movie.
Yeah.
Independent film.
I mean, you could get some good movies out of it, but you're still not going to compete with like Warner Brothers or Disney, or, you know, you're not going to compete with them.
No, definitely not. You don't have that kind of money.
And plus, they'll do things to shut, like, not even like legal terms, but they've got so much pull. Say Disney and Warner Brothers would have so much pull that even if you did come out with the movie, even if it was another big studio that did come out with a movie, well, they're going to go and say, oh, well, you can't advertise here, 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 and here. So your marketing budget just went completely, you know, like your marketing for it's going to go completely down the drain. So I mean, even legally, even if they don't do anything legally to stop you from it, nobody's going to watch your movie because a lot of people's probably not even going to know it's out. And then they can probably block it from certain theaters and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's
that right there. And I know at home you can't see this, but just Google original Mickey Mouse. And there's a picture from 1928. Look at that.
Well, Steam Train was the first.
Steamboat Willie.
Steamboat Willie.
If you did a movie with Mickey Mouse, you would have to have it look like that, basically. Like if you did a Mickey Mouse Blood and Honey, or whatever,
like they did
a Mickey Mouse horror movie, you'd have to have that Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, and that's the reason that.
But that would be creepier.
Characters in Winnie the Pooh look different,
and they only used certain ones in Winnie the Pooh too. They didn't use like all those updated, like a lot of them that came out when
Piglet
we were younger.
Is it?
Piglet's in there.
It is,
but
the original
Christopher
was Piglet,
Robin,
Kanga,
Eeyore,
Roo, Eeyore.
No, I think Kanga and Roo come out later, didn't they?
No,
I think it was Piglet, Eeyore. I think it was just Piglet, Eeyore, Pooh, and Tigger. I think was the only originals.
Mouse That Roared, the evolution of Mickey Mouse. Well, like every character is going to change and develop,
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I believe that if you put out, oh yeah, Mickey's changed a lot over the years. That's the one I remember as a kid, that version of him. Because that's when those terrifying ice cream bars came out. Do you remember those?
Mm-hmm.
Like stuff nightmares are made of. I believe that if you made a Mickey Mouse horror movie right now, I don't think they're going to mess with you because you're not going to make enough noise. If you reach the level of success that Terrifier has, it's made millions of dollars, and you're in theaters with it like Terrifier, and now they're selling like Terrifier Art the Clown action figures and merchandise, that's when I think Disney's going to step in.
Well, like I said, they're going to start blocking your marketing stuff. So even if legally they can't stop it, they can still stop you from. You can make the movie, but if nobody sees it, what's the point? And they can stop people from seeing your movie by messing up your marketing. If nobody knows the movie's coming out because you can't advertise anywhere because Warner Brothers and Disney pretty much have all the advertisements in their pocket too. They own most of the TV channels and stuff. So what's the point? Like you could go on YouTube and pop up an ad on YouTube, but Disney could probably get their hands in that and say, "Hey, YouTube, don't sell this company such and such." And
there was
going to be like, "Okay, well, give me a few million," and Disney will go, "Oh, well, that's pocket change here."
There was 10 original characters in Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, wow.
1926. Yeah, Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, Eeyore, Christopher Robbins, Kanga, Roo, Rabbit, Owl, Tigger, and Winnie the Witch.
So all of them were on there except for that weird
what the witch?
Elephant.
Winnie the Witch.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
Winnie the Witch.
So all of them, but that little elephant that was on there.
Was that like Winnie the Pooh's ex-wife or something?
Thing. I don't know. But that was the original 1926 characters from the book.
I went and looked at a list of. I just typed in popular songs that have entered public domain. I didn't recognize any of them because I don't listen to anything. And I looked up how long it's going to take for Elvis Presley's music to be in public domain. It's quite a while. It's still a while yet. But man, I think it was like 25 years from now or something like that. But imagine the big influx of artists covering Elvis stuff without any. I mean, people can release an Elvis album at that point if they want to and not have to do much of any kind of legal stuff.
Well, that's why House of the Rising Sun, every band that you can think of's covered it or rewrote it because nobody knows who owns it.
Yeah, that one is an exception.
It's been in public domain for a long time.
It's been there for a while, and not because of the time. It's that they aren't sure who is the original artist or something like that.
Well, they had
a whole story behind it.
They have a whole thing with Sublime, like their music can never be sold or anything because they didn't have anything legally written up before the singer died. That's why, like their new music, it's not even it's called Sublime with Rome. It's not even called Sublime.
Because one thing that's always baffled me is John Fogerty could not even perform Creedence Clearwater Revival songs for like 10, 15 years.
It was for 10 years at the time of the lawsuit.
That is crazy.
Wow.
But he went back and sued them for that. And he can perform them now since
I've heard
the one that wrote them.
Well, you've got to be careful with that stuff too, because you remember that one at one point, a couple of the guys from Saving Abel had went out and were playing on their own, and they wasn't promoting themselves as Saving Abel, but they were playing at a strip club one night, and the strip club promoted them as Saving Abel being there.
Yeah, I remember that.
The strip club got in trouble because they put out the wrong press packet, and it was like Saving Abel had 2 shows in one night. Like they were playing some arena somewhere, and then the other 2 members was playing some strip club, and the strip club was promoting them as Saving Abel, even though they wasn't promoting themselves as Saving Abel. But there was like a big stink over that for
it was like a
little while.
In our age that we remember was Great White. There were 2 versions of Great White out there. There was Jack Russell's Great White, and then the other. And it was just 2 Great Whites, and then they sued, and he had to call it Jack Russell's Great White. But earlier than that, I watched the movie about the Temptations. You remember that singing group, the Temptations?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
one of the OG boy bands, I guess. There was 3 versions of the Temptations tour in the United States at one time, because you had members from that they split up and formed an all new Temptations group. But by today's laws, though, they wouldn't be able to do that.
No.
That movie was actually pretty good, because at the end, all of them finally got back together and did like the real Temptations tour.
I remember one of those country bands had 2 versions, and basically one guy left the band, and it was like the drummer or something had left the band, so they wasn't allowed to play under the same name because it was actually split. That if anybody, it was some hillbilly country band, I can't remember their names, but they had to change their name, and because like a drummer left, because they had it split that way to where if any member of the band left, they could no longer use that band name, and it was still pretty much the exact same band.
I remember Tony Iommi was about to release a solo album called the Seventh Son, or I'll have to look it up, and it was just him and 3 other random dudes. And I was like, I protested it at first because they released it as a Black Sabbath record, but turns out it's the label that made him do it, because he owed him another Black Sabbath record, so he had to call it Black Sabbath. But it was just him with 3 dudes. He was the only original member, and he's the guitar player. Didn't have the original drummer, bassist, singer. Obviously, Ozzy was off doing his own thing. But I was like, what the heck, man? Nobody. I mean, are you gonna fool people? Like, they're really gonna think that's Black Sabbath? It's like, no, son.
I'm trying to remember that guy's name that changed bands like every album. I'm trying to remember what song it was, but the guy pretty much just every time he'd go in the studio to do the next album, like he owned the rights to the band name, and it would be like a different
look at the history
band.
of Fleetwood Mac. Like by the time they got Stevie Nicks in the band, they had changed every member of the band before they even started taking off to get famous. And since then, like, there's a YouTube video about it, and it just blew my mind. I was like, what the hell? Like, there could be like 12 versions of that band out there. I guess if you stick around long enough and one person owns the name and keeps it going, then
like everybody says Lynyrd Skynyrd now. Like, there's no original member in Lynyrd Skynyrd now.
One of them was the dude's brother, I think, is the closest connection.
But there was no original member of Lynyrd Skynyrd in the current Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Yeah. They tried to do this band, and they called it Creedence Clearwater Revival. And then they got sued and had to change it to Creedence Clearwater Revisited, is what they called it.
I remember that, yeah.
So they toured for a while, played in Creedence. So they were basically a cover band and tried to.
You remember a long time ago they used to talk about Van Halen, and the big joke all the time was they should have named it Van Hagar, and when David Lee Roth quit.
I was more of a Roth guy.
But
I know a lot of people that still call it Van Hagar. They don't call it.
Yeah,
Van
that
Hagar.
was the joke.
There's a lot of good Hagar songs. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sure.
Well, they're actually trying to talk about doing a tour with both of them.
They did.
Oh, really?
It was a disaster. Yeah, because of egos got involved in who opens and who goes next. But yeah, they did a tour. It was called they had a cute name that went with it, like Then and Now or something.
David Loves Sammy or something.
Yeah, it was something silly, but made it. You could tell
they were one of the few bands that still had like hit songs
with the new
with both singers,
right.
And it's rare that people do
oftentimes,
that. It's really rare when
oftentimes
AC/DC did it and Van Halen, but there's rare anybody else has ever.
But
really done it,
AC/DC. The guy died. It's not like they just kicked him out.
No. Yeah, exactly.
And so people were sympathetic to that. And the two, they made a kick-ass comeback record.
Yeah, they did.
And it was called Back in Black. Like that was the perfect comeback of any like that. They did it right. Like that's how you.
I mean, I guess
that's how you replace a singer and.
I guess you could say the Misfits did that in a way.
Well, Danzig is touring with the Misfits. Well, not touring, but doing shows with them again.
Yeah. And Switch Engage.
Here's what's crazy is Slash is back with Guns N' Roses, but I think they were just a little too late with that. Like that should have happened like 10 years ago.
Man, yeah. Whenever they finally released Chinese Democracy, it was too late. And everything that's happened since then, in my honest opinion, it's just been too late. They're just reaching.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, there's they're still selling out arenas, but
like that.
To have a big resurgence, you need to do it while people still give a shit.
That first concert they had with what was it, Full Throttle or whatever, during Biker Week. That was probably their big, like that was when everybody wanted to see them, and they just that Full Throttle bar just basically gave them like they were like, here's like $8 million.
Take all the money.
Y'all come play one night, just one night, and that was probably their biggest real comeback. And then after that, it's like you said, everything was just too late.
I just saw him.
We have a visitor. Kelly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Speaking of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, we have a visitor.
It got real cold outside and the mice are coming in.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't talked about that happened to most of the United States in the last couple of weeks is this huge winter storm. Well, it affected all the Southeast. Everybody up north is used to it, but we ain't. Us country folk, we can't walk across the damn.
It flicks off at 40. So.
All right. Well, we're back, y'all.
We got kicked off of Zoom. I don't know how far we got, but what we had just started talking about is that a mouse got in, and I think part of the reason, and this affects most all of the Southeast at least, is this big winter storm we had this past week.
I know I hadn't left the house at all. I tried to go to work one day and ended up in my neighbor's driveway.
Yeah, it's the longest I've been off of work in like 5 years because I don't take vacations or get vacations.
I think Wednesday or Thursday, me and Alicia went to Tiger Mart, which is just right up the road, and going from my driveway to the top of that hill was absolutely the worst part. We were spinning going up that hill. My tires were spinning.
I left to go to work.
And I got all-terrain tires.
Thursday and did okay, except for one spot. I ended up on the wrong side of the road.
You don't want to do that.
So, but the problem was it wasn't snow. We had no snow whatsoever.
None. I put a bowl out.
Ice.
I put a bowl out just in case it snowed. We would have snow cream. Yeah. It was just solid little tiny pebbles of ice.
Yeah. There was no snow.
Then it started melting, and then it got cold again. And then it was really just solid slick ice.
Yeah.
Like you could literally skate on the concrete part in my driveway area out there.
But today it got up to what, 34?
And it's funny because
first time it got up
Thursday it got up to 44. And we had a lot of melting out here. Well, then Friday came in and it just started sleeting again. Yeah. And made it even worse.
It just rained here and it got that ice real wet. Then the temperature dropped again and just reinforced it really.
It was like a little ice skating rain. It was like
you know how it is when the weather starts getting just above freezing, the shit on the road will start melting. But we have these country roads out here, a lot of it's shaded. And if the sun don't hit it directly, it is not budging.
No.
And so there's a lot of that.
Like an ice skating rink, you go through and you make grooves.
Yeah.
Well, what a Zamboni does is it just walks by and heats it all and refreezes it so it flattens back out. So that's basically what we had here was like a Mother Nature's version of a Zamboni. Like it came in, it kind of heated everything up, slicked it over and rained on it, and then it all slicked over again. So,
and I know the people not even far north of here make fun of us because, we buy out all the milk and bread and shut the whole world down. But you got to understand, we're not equipped to deal with it because we don't get it. Like we have whole years, whole winters, we go when there's no snow.
Here's the thing.
Like none.
I went to Walmart. So
why go buy a bunch of snow plows that'll never get used?
So I went to Walmart on Thursday. And on Wednesday. And the meat department that runs all the way down the side of the store.
Completely empty.
They had salmon. That was it. They had that one little section of fish, and then the rest of the meat department all the way down.
I saw pictures on
was
Facebook
completely empty.
Just an
empty
Walmart.
So I found a box of those pre-made sausage patties, and I was like, well, I'll just fix breakfast for my kids, that night. We'll just eat breakfast for supper since there's no meat of any kind. So I found that box of sausage and I went back there. Well, you could only get the 18-pack eggs and the sleeves. That's all they had in eggs of course, for me, I love eggs. So that wasn't no big deal either.
Yeah.
So then I went and started buying all this stuff for breakfast and got up there and there was no biscuits of any type. So I was like, well, I'll just make homemade biscuits. I'm not good at it, but I can do it. So I go over to the section where all the baking stuff is. There's absolutely no Bisquick, no flour.
Oh yeah, flour.
I saw 3 bags of sugar. So
when there's snow and sleet in the forklift,
there was 3 bags of sugar left on the shelf. So I bought one of them. So I was like, well, I'll just make toast. So I go up there to the bread aisle and they had 3 loaves of wheat bread up there. And then other than like specialty bread, all the bread was gone. So wow. I got that to make toast with. And so, I mean, like you just had to, you had to be creative with supper if you didn't have your stuff, before everybody got in there.
I bought a bunch of canned stuff.
Yeah, I ended up buying like peas and stuff to make cornbread and that kind of stuff.
Lots of soups and stews and stuff like that. And that's basically that grilled cheese.
When I knew it was coming in, I made a huge pot of chili at my house. And then I made a big crock pot full of Rotel dip and stuff like that. So I had already so that first day, that Friday before it hit, I just came home and started cooking. Like I just cooked a whole bunch of stuff to just throw in my refrigerator, that kids could eat on all weekend. And so that's what we did all weekend was just ate on that stuff. And I still had plenty when my kids were gone and I couldn't go get them. So I didn't even have my kids again till Friday because I just couldn't go get them, from their mothers and stuff. So I had plenty of food.
Just a couple of podcasts ago, we were talking about I was talking about how nice it is this time of year. You can sit your beer outside and ain't got to worry about finding a spot inside the refrigerator. Well, I had to get my beer inside because it's going to bust. Frozen and bust. And that, again, that's not a problem we normally have around here.
All of that beer and stuff is still in the back of my Jeep from when we went camping over the weekend.
You may have some wet spots when it thaws out.
Yeah, you might want to check that and pull it out.
Oh yeah, I went camping.
Mark knocked something off his bucket list.
The day we drove home, which we knew it was coming, so we were coming home that day, and it hit that night. But we came home from camping that day.
Yeah, I was out here that night, went home,
and then and
that was the last time I went out. When I left here and went to my house, that was the last I could get out, and I mean, it was pretty well stocked, though,
not just because of it just so happened that I had stocked up on everything. I guess because of the camping trip.
I mean, there's still
but we didn't lose power, didn't lose internet, didn't lose. Well, we lost water out here one time because it froze. But
I mean, I went to work today, and there's still like some of the parking lots and stuff where the shade is. It's still. I mean, there was still ice, like, in some of that. Now the roads were pretty clear. Underneath the bridges, there would be a patch of ice. That type of stuff. But other than that, but tomorrow it's supposed to, like, this whole week it's supposed to get up in the 50s and
60s
even. Like one day it's going to get real close to 70 if it doesn't reach 70. So
that's Mississippi for you.
Yep.
You have a snowocalypse and then you wearing shorts a week later.
A few years ago when it snowed, they had pushed all the snow, in Tupelo, in the bigger town. Like they had pushed all the snow to the side of the road.
They actually have a
plow. So it was all piled up, like waist deep. And one day it was 86 degrees. And I'm like, it's 86 degrees. Everybody's sweating, but you can look over and there's still a pile of snow and ice from the week before on the side.
I always tell the story about my 11th grade year. We went and stayed out at Needle Lake all week, just swimming and playing and drinking and partying. Well, the week we came back for spring break, that day, it came one of the biggest snowstorms we've ever had. And I remember, and we went down to the parking lot because at the 11th grade, you can drive your own car there.
Was that 94?
And we, yeah. It'd have been around 93, 94.
Yeah.
We went down the hill where we were parked and there was snow all over the cars. So this huge snowball fight started. Like, I mean, we were just killing each other with snowballs. And I reared back to throw a snowball and I winced because of my sunburn that I had acquired just 2 days before at the lake. And I thought, how ironic. Man. I'm having trouble throwing my snowball. 10 miles from where I got a sunburn 2 days earlier.
Well, a few years ago it snowed on Easter.
Yeah.
Here. It's like, what was that, like 6-7 years ago? And it snowed on Easter.
I think, I remember it snowing one time on Christmas. And that's since I lived here.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes we'll go an entire winter. We've gone a whole winter's for, and it didn't even snow one night.
The big one we had here was 84 and 94. And
then 2000. That was
the two bigger ones. And then.
So, but yeah, in your bigger cities up north, they have whole departments that sweep and plow the streets, and they have all the equipment to salt the bridges. And around here, we just have to hope we have enough.
Shut down for a week and be done. Usually it's not just long, though.
Just rough it for a couple of days. It's usually like it'll melt the next day because it'll be 80 the next day. But this time in particular,
it's probably the longest.
The numbers just stayed so low. Yeah, it's been several years since it was this bad.
Yeah,
I didn't mind it though in a way. I mean, I was inconvenienced, but it's almost like glorified camping. It's like I kind of roughing it for just a little bit. I mean, every night we'd come out here and we'd play cards, we would drink, we would listen to music. We never lost power. We stayed warm. I had to break out the extra heater one night.
Well, what happened in 84? It was actual, like this time it was just ice. That's all we got was ice.
I think that was 86, wasn't it?
But what happened in I think it was 84, but I may be wrong.
I may be too.
But what happened then was it would snow at night. And then the next morning, about dinner time, all that would melt, then it would snow again later that night, and it ended up being like 6 or 8 inches. But it was just 6 or 8 inches of ice because the snow would melt and freeze, melt, freeze, and then it would just melt and freeze on top of itself.
That is in my entire lifetime, and I've lived here my whole life. That's like the worst.
6 or 8 inches.
That was the worst. We've ever had. And I was out of school for like 2 weeks.
But I remember
that's back when they didn't give a shit. Like. A tornado would be right up the road.
Yeah, they didn't care.
And they would just make us sit in the hallway. I remember several times having to line up the hallway, cover your head if you got something.
Kiss your
I remember that.
And then the tornado, all right, the tornado blew through and killed about 15 people. Y'all go back to class. We're fine. Nowadays, it's like, hey, it's going to rain real bad tomorrow. We're going to call off all the Monroe County.
Somebody sneeze too hard and they close school.
It might snow, so we're not having school, and then it don't even. That's what blows my mind.
Well, the crazy part about school now is they figured out that you don't have to be at school every single day to actually learn now. It's like take some stuff home, do it at home, that kind of thing. So
yeah, back then they could not email us our assignments because email was not a thing. It didn't exist.
Yeah, I've been working from home all week, and all I've had is my phone.
I remember the day I was so pissed off that snowstorm was coming that you're talking about. Our teachers were frantically assigning us a shitload of work to do because they knew we were going to be at home.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was just like, what? And I mean, they were like scrounging to make, like, just making shit up, like, do 20 pages of this and do your spelling words, write them 10 times instead of 1 or 2. And I was like, son of a bitch.
I remember waking up.
And I still waited the night before.
I remember waking up that morning and like I lived on a hill, a big hill. And I look out my window and there's probably like 30 or 40 kids sliding down my hill on random things. So
we went out to the gravel pits and was sliding down the hills.
That was kind of the good old days,
People don't do stuff like that anymore. Not around here. I bet some people might go out on their quads or their
somebody in my
Rangers and ride around, but they're not going to get on like a cardboard box and slide.
There was a guy in my neighborhood driving around on a side by side, and he was like spinning and doing little donuts.
You remember when we did all that shit in the parking lot of Piggly Wiggly?
Yeah.
Shauna and Jesse found an old car hood and had it hooked up behind their truck.
Nice.
And was driving up and down the road. She sent me videos of it.
Yeah, they did that back at that big one in 84, 86.
Now I want to look that up and see when it was. But that's definitely the worst one we've ever had. Another one that was pretty bad is since I lived here and we lost power for about 3, maybe 4 days. And luckily I have an indoor fireplace, so we stayed warm during that. I bought plenty of beer.
That one we had when I was still living in Becker, well, it froze over for almost a week.
Yeah.
And that ain't been but about 5-6 years ago.
I was laughing at myself because everybody was like, you got milk, you got bread, we got canned food, we got enough fuel for the propane, the butane. And I'm like, how much beer do I have? Do I have some? Yeah, I got some whiskey left from the camping trip. But yeah, I'm good. Yeah, we probably need that other shit too, but that's where my mind was
like
at.
There's no propane in town. There hasn't been propane in Amory.
Yeah,
in like a week.
The Dollar General I went to that I showed you the picture of where the whole freezer section was empty had a big sign on the propane thing that said empty. So I was glad I just got some for the camping trip.
We had all ours filled up right before winter hit and still hadn't used any of them.
It's still like 20 something degrees outside, or gonna be.
Yeah, I need to drip the faucet in here again because it froze up and it just thawed out today.
I kept mine dripping in my kitchen sink, my bathroom sink, my bathtub.
I've been keeping mine in the kitchen dripping.
And then you also got to know to keep your cabinet doors cracked or open a little bit too inside your house. That helps out too. A lot of people don't know that. To open cabinet doors under your counters, open those, and that helps out too.
Well, typically when it's the winter time, I'll message Alicia or whoever's home when I'm at work, and I'll be like, "Hey, we're gonna be out in the man cave tonight. Go turn the heater on." Well, this heater right here has been on high, hasn't been off.
Well, you had to worry about that.
What night did I get home? Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Sunday,
and you turned it up. You said it.
And today's Sunday. It's been on 7 days straight, wide open.
Yeah, because you said you were worried about the water freezing up out here then. That was last Sunday.
My power bill is gonna be bad.
Now, what all did y'all do during the great snow eclipse? Because all I did was
I worked every day. I just had to work from home.
Well, I did that too, but
I watched a lot of television.
I watched a lot of movies and TV.
It's a good segue there, Kelly. I like that.
I watched Boy Swallows Universe.
What?
I hadn't seen it.
It's a Netflix show, and it's got the guy that played the only famous one in it that I spotted was the guy that played Ragnar in Vikings. He was in it. But it's an Australian show, and it's about this kid growing up with like drug dealers as his family. It was a pretty cool little show.
I've watched a lot of foreign films this week,
and
Korean, Canadian, and French sci-fi type movies on Netflix, and they were all pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's one thing about me being deaf, or mostly deaf, is I've gotten good at reading subtitles. So now I can watch a foreign movie.
I can't watch TV and don't even think about the captions on. I can't.
Well, these were all dubbed anyway, so
let me tell y'all a story real quick. Then my son, my 14-year-old, has gotten. I called him in because we watch a lot of Marvel movies and Star Wars and random shows and stuff. Well, I called him in the living room about 2-3 weeks ago and said, "Hey, let me introduce you to Lost."
Oh yeah.
And man, we have watched Lost. We're on the 3rd season now.
Just tell him there's not a 4th season. That way he won't be so disappointed.
No, I'm gonna let him. He's good at figuring out shows, like figuring out what's going on before they actually do it. So I tried to tell him when we started, it was like, don't try to figure it out. You're just going to get a headache. Like, just watch it. And
I really believe Lost made a huge mistake by listening to the internet. And that was like in the early days of people getting online saying, "Oh, I know what's going to happen. I know what." And everybody was like, "Oh, they died in the plane crash. And this is like some kind of purgatory or hell or something in between." Yeah. And they figured it out like right away. And then the showrunners were like, "No, that's not what it is. It's something totally
like, oh." And then they just dreaming, like it was Hurley just dreaming.
Yeah, they tried to do.
Okay, no, it wasn't.
And then at the end, they were like, "Well, okay, yeah,
the island's magic. No, that's not it." And then they just took all that and combined it.
Basically. Yeah, and at the end, it kind of was purgatory anyway. And I'm like,
and it was
don't
listen to
the internet. Just whatever you wrote, stick with it and tell a good story. Don't worry about if people figured it out or not, Like we speculate on who's going to win a wrestling match, and then if that person wins, fine. If they didn't, fine. It's just, I don't know. I think they made a huge mistake by listening to the fans.
Yeah, I think.
Well, have y'all watched Reacher season 2?
I have not, but it's high up on my list.
Man, it is really good.
I haven't even watched the latest season of Jack Ryan.
I had never seen any of it.
Oh, dude, that first couple seasons is amazing. I highly recommend it. It's on Amazon.
But yeah, I've watched a lot of just random movies. Oh, Trap.
I watched Blue Beetle last night.
How was that?
It was really good.
Anthony said it was good.
I watched an old movie called Trap that they just released on Netflix. And it's got Charlize Theron and Kevin Bacon and Courtney Love. And the Townsend guy that played Lestat on
The Lost. I mean, not the Lost Boys interview.
No, the other one, Queen of the Dam. They were on it, and it's an old movie. And I guess I just didn't watch it when it came out, but man, that's a good movie. I would recommend that one too. I think it came out like 2011 or 12.
I was watching a documentary today called The Electric Boogaloo. And it was like the name of it was Canon Films. And it's really confusing because when you think of Canon, you think of like what's canon to a story. But there was actually a movie company called Canon Films. And they released a lot of the films we watched in the 80s. Like almost all the Chuck Norris movies were Canon Films. That He-Man movie that was god awful. They did a bunch of the cheesy, like there was a couple of the Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. The only Sylvester Stallone movie I think was Over the Top, which is crazy how they made a movie that was interesting about arm wrestling.
And I remember watching it and wanted to be an arm wrestler so bad.
I didn't achieve those aspirations.
Yeah, I didn't get there either.
I got the Arm Wrestling Association on the line, and they are not happy. That's their favorite movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, they made a movie about bouncers, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all in who you put in it.
And yeah, I mean, if it's a good movie, it's a good movie. I mean, Weatherman was about weathermen. And it was good. So you got any news for us?
Not really. I mean, there's the only really big thing that I found is Todd McFarlane has been talking about Spawn, the new Spawn movie.
Oh yeah,
the new comic and the upcoming toys that he's got released.
I've been bidding on a Todd McFarlane, Jason Voorhees figure.
Well, he's saying that for anybody that's wanting to pick up and jump into the Spawn verse, to start at issue 350, because it's 350 is where they're wrapping up a storyline. So it's going to be a new story, and I think that's where he's wanting the new movie to pick up at.
Well, kudos for him to just keep it going and not starting back over at number 1 again. That's what most comic books would do, and just have another number 1 out there.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen the second season of What If or Echo, the new show Echo?
Nope.
I hadn't seen Echo yet.
We watched the first 2 or 3 episodes of Echo. It's really good, but I would say go back and watch the Daredevil series again, and then maybe even that Hawkeye series before you watch Echo, because it ties into both of those a lot. And if you haven't seen those, or you don't remember those
series, I watched it, but
it ties in a whole lot.
I remember it started
especially the Hawkeye
with the Ronin stuff, but where he did that other character.
Now of course, they've already started bringing Daredevil in. He was in the Spider-Man movie, and
how'd you catch that brick? I'm a really good lawyer.
And She-Hulk, and then
I read today that it's not looking good for She-Hulk season 2. It's probably not gonna happen, but I wasn't surprised.
Yeah,
it didn't really.
Well, they keep their back and forth on that so much.
I will say
it costed a lot of money, and it just didn't really go over very well.
I started watching that show with low expectations. Like, I just really didn't. I had no desire to watch it.
She-Hulk in the comics.
But then when I did, it was a pretty good show.
I thought the series was really good. The show, I really enjoyed it.
It was fun. It's fun to watch.
Yeah. And you need those every once in a while, those fun shows. Not everything should be dark and serious,
But another little piece of news, just to reach our quota here. Doctor Who, the Millie Gibson, the companion for with Gotti, who plays Ruby Sunday, is only going to be on this season. She's not going forward on season 15.
When do those episodes start?
Did y'all watch the specials?
Yeah, we talked about.
I haven't seen them yet, but
dude, I'm not for sure.
This whole season's going to be on Disney.
They've already found her replacement.
Okay.
So I mean, that's kind of like really, really weird.
Is this new doctor going to just do 3 seasons and ditch like the rest of them?
Don't know yet. Not for sure.
So we may have to stop for a break again in just a second.
Oh, yeah, we got 5 minutes.
Oh, we still got 10 minutes at least.
Is it 10?
It stops at 40 minutes.
Oh, okay. The last one stopped at 32 minutes, but that's because we were on for a while before we started.
Well, that was 32 recording minutes.
Yeah.
I don't think it cares if you're recording or not. When you reach your limits, you're out. I guess we'll find out.
But I really don't have anything else other than that.
I saw an advertisement that I never saw, never heard of. But did you know that there was this movie called the Avengers of Justice Farce Wars, and it was like Avengers, Justice League, and Star Wars. Like it was like one of those, those comedy movies like they do, like scary movie type things. But the star was Shawn Michaels. And I don't know. I don't even remember that. He played like a cross between the Yoda and the Hulk.
Yeah, I heard about that, and I went and tried to find it, and I couldn't find it anywhere.
But it was called Avengers of Justice Farce Wars.
Yeah, I remember reading about that, and I went and looked for the movie.
And Shawn Michaels played like a anywhere. Combination of Yoda and the Hulk.
It obviously wasn't very good on any level. Like, it sounds like it'd be one of those movies that's so bad it's good.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the Star Wars Christmas special is so bad they've got a documentary out now talking about what went wrong.
Chewbacca's family.
Yeah.
But one thing we did get from
and I love how like Chewbacca's family would be all talking and stuff, and they're Chewbacca, and they didn't even have
but
captions translating what they were saying. They were just, if you didn't speak Chewbacca or Wookiee, but they you just don't know what they're saying.
But the one thing we got out of the Star Wars special was Boba Fett. That was Boba Fett's first appearance. Was the Star Wars Christmas special.
So the Christmas special was before Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't know which movies it went between because I didn't watch it when it came out.
Do you remember those? You remember they had the Droids cartoon and the Ewok cartoon?
Yeah.
Like when we were kids, there was like a little pink Ewok. That was the girl Ewok.
I remember that.
So if it's a girl, it's born pink.
It's pink.
Wow.
But yeah, and then like a Droids cartoon.
So why wouldn't Smurfette pink?
Because she had long blonde hair.
I mean, Papa Smurf could have grew his hair out. It looked kind of bad.
So did you ever watch Ahsoka?
Mm-mm.
I watched the first.
Still hadn't had a chance to watch.
I haven't finished it yet, but I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes. Because Ray, what's his name? That's the guy that played the second Punisher. Ray. He played
in the movie or the show.
He was the second Punisher in the movie. The Ray. He was in Dexter.
Yeah, and he was in that.
He died while they were. I guess I figured they were still making Ahsoka when he died. I'm not sure, but I haven't finished it yet. But yeah, they dedicated the first episode to him.
Well, you know how they do nowadays.
And
you sign away your likeness rights.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially with Star Wars, because they never know when they're going to use them.
Well, yeah, they.
But I will say this:
they did a lifetime deal with James Earl Jones going forward. He's never going to do Darth Vader again, but they're going to keep using his voice, like doing it electronically.
So it says up there now that we've got 10 minutes. But the thing about Ahsoka is,
where do you see that? Oh, time
at
remaining.
The very top.
Yep. That's
the thing about Ahsoka is if you wasn't a big Clone Wars or Rebels fan,
and I wasn't,
you're gonna miss out on so much. And I mean, I've watched them.
I didn't watch any of the animated.
I watched all that, and I'm still lost on some of it.
I could keep up better with if they did it on the comic books actually than the animated.
Well, on Ahsoka, like if you watch Star Wars Rebels without watching Clone Wars, then you were lost on Star Wars Rebels. Well, on this, if you haven't watched Star Wars Rebels, you're lost. So if you've really got to go back and kind of watch a lot of the stories, or you're kind of lost on what's going on. I mean, they pick really good actors, but it's just, like I said, you can get really lost and not know what's going on. It takes a real deep Star Wars fan to just really enjoy that one.
When we get back from this break, I'm going to talk about a con that I'm definitely going to here in a few months. And we need to get ready to start talking about Tupelo Con. It's in March, right?
Yeah. Corinth Con was this weekend.
They've
I saw on Instagram they posted things saying yes, we're still doing it, and all the guests are still coming.
They've announced a few. We can look it up on during the break too. They've announced a few voice actors for the Tupelo one.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah, let's look that up during this next break. As soon as we get kicked off in 8 minutes, and then before we go, I wanted to, especially since I've got you here, I wanted to touch up on a little bit on we got the Royal Rumble coming up.
Yeah,
Saturday.
We'll talk about what we think.
Sean and Nikki do have Peacock.
Like, I know we're gonna
watch party.
I was thinking we'll bore Kelly to death with it, but there's a lot of old wrestlers that we'll talk about too, so that might keep Kelly at least halfway interested in it.
Oh, y'all are good. Talk about it.
If Kellogg gets bored, he just scrolls Reddit.
Not everybody's in it, so
yeah, he don't really tune out. He just starts scrolling Reddit when he gets bored.
Well, Kellogg at least know the names of the people we're talking about.
Yeah. Hey, I hadn't been big into wrestling. Like, I'm more into wrestling right now than I have been in a long time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, I almost pretty much quit having anything to do with it. And some of that shit we were trying to watch during COVID, man, it was just god awful.
Oh. It was like they were just doing it. They wasn't really trying. They were just keeping the company afloat until.
Yeah, that's all they were doing.
They did have a couple good matches though. That graveyard match, the Undertaker and Styles, Edge's big match.
Yeah,
that arena match with somebody,
Orton.
Yeah, it was. Of course, it was good. I mean, it wasn't all a bust, but man, some of that shit was just hard to watch.
That was the worst Money in the Bank for sure. Because you remember they had to start at the bottom of the building and fight their way up to the top of the building, and then the ladder was on top of the building. And somebody got threw off the building.
Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio got threw off the building,
top
but
of
didn't die.
10-story building, but he's okay.
But he didn't die.
He's Rey Mysterio.
Top of Titan Towers. He got threw off the top of Titan Towers.
I like how he said,
"You scared it."
The rat, the mouse.
It ran right through there when he opened the door. So, yeah, let's take a break now so we don't lose.
Yeah,
that way we can just come back fresh.
I gotta hit the bathroom anyway. We'll get you back on here in a minute, Kellogg.
Mark can play some music between these.
All right. I want to elaborate more on what you were just talking about. Not the chili sauce, but
before that,
trying to find an older movie that you think is going to definitely be somewhere online for free, and then you can't.
Yeah, like I was looking for Flash Gordon.
The only streaming service that's pretty good about older movies is it called Tubi?
Tubi, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Tubi and Pluto,
yeah,
but
Plex, that's pretty good. I like Plex. But yeah, there's a lot of movies that you're like, oh, surely this is going to be free somewhere.
Yeah.
It's got to be, but no, you got to go rent it on Amazon, knowing you've got a VHS and DVD of it in your attic somewhere.
Yeah,
but now you got to pay another $4 just to get it on freaking Amazon.
But I was wanting to watch Flash.
That's Gordon. The big thing when we already have it on DVD and VHS.
Yeah, I still have a DVD player though.
You need to hang on to it because
I got my computer. That's it.
I was thinking about that during the ice storm. I was like, well, I got my battery bank now. I've got my solar powered charger. I got my power inverter. I can run a TV and a DVD player, no problem.
Yeah, I did that.
Watch old Star Trek DVDs or something.
We watched it. We watched movies like that for a week after the tornado come through. Like we didn't have internet service for about a week.
You should DVDs,
and me and the kids just piled in the living room, and like we watched
today's TVs don't take a lot of power like old ones did.
I had bought like a 7-set disc of Shark Week, and then like a bunch of different, like we just started going through DVDs. Like,
yeah, it's good to have. I've got a whole tote full of DVDs.
Oh God, I couldn't.
You remember I used to keep old wrestling DVDs around. I still got like an Undertaker box set that came in like a wooden coffin.
Mm-hmm. I had a bunch of
I used to buy every WrestleMania on Blu-ray for a long time.
I had a bunch of VHS tapes.
I've got 6 or 7 WrestleManias in a row on Blu-ray. And it would be the extended edition that included the full Hall of Fame ceremony. I remember we always talk about how old we are, but I remember getting DVDs from Netflix.
So Walmart, they ran a bunch of DVD players on clearance for $7.
Damn. And you remember when they first came out? A DVD was like $199.
I remember that first one I bought was like almost $300.
I've got a Blu-ray player that I stayed up all night to do a Black Friday thing for at Best Buy, which I'll never do again. And I paid, I think it was a regular $199, and I got it for like $150. And now you can get a Blu-ray player at Dollar General for like $12, and it's got internet on it.
It's one of the smart ones.
When I was young, we had one of our Christmas big all together Christmas presents was a VCR that was $300.
Yep.
And then my brother won one a couple of months later from Walmart. He entered in this raffle and won one that was 300 and something bucks. And to tell you how long ago that was, he traded it. He asked him if he could trade it for a microwave because they were the same price.
Damn.
So a microwave and a VCR both was right around $300.
That's another thing kids nowadays will never know is having to live where there's no microwave. Like we cooked and heated up everything in an oven. There wasn't the microwaves didn't exist till I was probably I don't know what 12, 13, 15.
In fact, that microwave that we had it was a good microwave, dude. It blew up on me about 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, appliances back then, washers and dryers. There's a deep freeze in my laundry room right now that's older than me.
It was made by Good Housekeeping. The microwave that I had. It was Good Housekeeping brand.
Nowadays you can buy like a washing. I've got a washing machine that we paid $600 for, and it was on sale 6 years ago, maybe 5, and it's falling apart right now.
You know, I have
it won't last another 2 years.
I have a freezer at my house right now.
It may not last another year.
That's running and has food in it. That's 60 years old.
That's what I was telling y'all earlier. I just bought a washer and dryer, right before Christmas. And I've used it maybe 3 times and it's broke.
Damn. And they ain't cheap. They are not cheap nowadays.
Technicians had to come out one day, next couple of weeks and fix it.
That's crazy.
I was going to pull up that con I was going to tell you all about.
Oh, yeah. We were going to talk about
Tupelo Con.
And then we were going to quickly talk about wrestling.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Royal Rumble before we get off of here. Let me find that picture.
Which I'm still kind of confused on what they're going to do, but we'll. Did y'all pull up Tupelo to see who they announced?
It's called the con I'm going to is in June. It's called Smoky Mountain Terror. It's a horror con. And dude, they've got everybody. Like, usually you want to get like the actor that played Jason to come to the con. They not only have Jason's there, Jason, but like the people he killed are going to be there. Like people that were just in one of the movies for a little while. Like the girl that got her face pushed through the RV in part 6. She's going to be there. Like people that deep cut, like hardcore Friday the 13th fans like me will only know like who they are. So I'm pretty excited about it. What official capacity we'll be there in as far as the podcast is concerned remains to be seen. But now that
I'm down.
Now that y'all have expressed interest in going, I'll reach out and see if we could set up a table or at least do something. Maybe they're not flooded with podcasts already this early on. And the thing is, they're still announcing names.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Best thing to do is follow their Instagram. That's where they're announcing everything.
As of right
I noticed it was an 8-hour drive for us. So
yeah, it's up in Tennessee, up in the mountains.
So as of right now, they've got 3 voice actors.
You're looking up Tupelo Con.
At Tupelo Con. It's Greg Baldwin, who was he was the Jedi Master Tara Sanub, Guarm and Cassis on Star Wars Clone Wars, multiple voices on Lego Star Wars, and he was Jack M. Crazyfish and SpongeBob SquarePants.
Nice.
And then the next voice actor is Josh Martin, and I've actually heard of him and seen him, and he was in Dragon Ball.
That's the cool thing about nowadays is these just actors that are just starting out and just voice actors can land a cool role playing a familiar character, and they've got a whole career going forward of con appearances because people want to talk to the guy that voiced one of their favorite characters. That's kind of
not to mention the autographs and pictures and
exactly. You have like a whole new career open up if you just land one really cool role. Is like you voiced Spider-Man in a video game or something. Like boom, all of a sudden you're quasi famous.
But one thing I've noticed about these voice actors is you don't just voice act one character.
Oh no! Most of the time they do 3 or 4 characters in one.
Oh yeah, you're like numerous characters over numerous different. So it's not just like Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. It might be 4 or 5 other animes you're also associated with.
That's still part of that same. A lot of them will go to work for Funimation, and it's just like a full-time job, basically.
Yeah,
I mean they're just there just to do voiceovers. Like if they go to work for Funimation or somebody, they'll just it's like a full-time job. They'll just go in and voice characters all the time for different shows and stuff, different animes and and then they'll do video games and all that.
So catch us up on this Royal Rumble stuff if we don't have nothing else to talk about.
So
my theory is, and I haven't been watching it religiously, but we know The Rock is back. But how back is he? Has he been appearing?
Well, here's the thing:
appearing weekly. Has he wrestled anybody, or is he just cutting?
No, he's only been out one time so far.
So he's not really.
So here's the thing: a month ago, everybody could have predicted once CM Punk come back, everybody and started his little thing with Seth Rollins,
which we did talk about that on here.
You could predict what WrestleMania was going to be.
Pretty much.
It was going to be CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns Part 2. That was going to be your 2. They do 2 main events now: the Saturday night main event and then the Sunday night main event. That was probably going to be your 2 main events. But now The Rock is around, so it's like, okay, if they're going to have The Rock versus Roman Reigns, what do you do with Cody Rhodes? Well, now just last Monday, Seth Rollins got injured, so they're not sure yet that he's going to even
what kind of injury are we talking about.
But it was some kind of knee injury, and they said if it doesn't need surgery, he could be back in like 4 to 6 weeks, so that wouldn't be a big deal. He'd still be around for WrestleMania, and he doesn't have a match set up for the Royal Rumble anyway, so that's not a big deal. But if he has to have surgery, he might be out past WrestleMania. So then it's like, now who wins and what do you do with him? It's still gonna be, I mean, there's probably a 99% chance that it's still going to be either CM Punk or Cody Rhodes that wins the Royal Rumble. But it's like, but what do you do with them? If The Rock's going to fight Roman Reigns,
do you think The Rock?
Then what do you do with Cody Rhodes?
You think The Rock will be? Who do you think some of the surprise people in the Rumble will be? Because there's always got to be a couple that you're like, whoa.
Well, let's say the 2
is there that could be a surprise.
They're saying something about X-Pac, that he might be one of the surprise ones.
Coco Beware.
He
came out one time,
but there's I don't know that they're saying that the whole MJF and AEW, how he said he become a free agent in 2024, and he's out right now injured from AEW, and like his contract expired, but they think that he's still going to be with AEW. But so a lot of people's like, oh, MJF could show up at the Royal Rumble, but I don't see that happening. And now I don't know if y'all know who Okada is. He's from New Japan, blonde-haired guy. Well, his contract ended last month in New Japan, and so now a lot of people's thinking he might show up at the Rumble.
What are you eating, Kellogg?
And
gumbo.
You made gumbo?
Yeah.
From scratch?
Not really from scratch.
I mean, did you make your own roux and shit?
No. No, we got a bunch of roux canned up. So I just dumped it out, heated it up, then added all my ingredients.
Oh, look at you. Sorry, I always wonder what some people's eating, so I don't know if I need to be jealous or not.
That's the reason I had it muted so y'all could talk and y'all wouldn't hear me over here moaning.
So yeah, that's the thing is everybody's kind of confused, and like I said earlier, it's probably a good problem to have because they've got so many main event guys now.
What's John Cena doing? Like, he came back for a minute.
He came back and actually got beat by Solo Sikoa. But they got so many people that they're pushing into the main event spot all year long. But then when WrestleMania comes around, it's like, okay, well, thanks for making our show for the last year. But, you know, we got Stone Cold coming back, or, you know, just for instance, we got Stone Cold, The Rock, and such coming back. So you're going to have to take a back seat during WrestleMania, you know. Like LA Knight. Like, what's LA Knight going to do now? You know, he's been their biggest star all year long, just about. Sold the most merchandise. And
a big name from the past can just make one, like, Trinitron,
something like The Rock comes in and says, I'm going to go out to eat and sit at the head of the table. And then all of a sudden, there's your storyline.
That's it.
And it's like somebody has to take a back seat.
It's like the big names the marquee names that they sell tickets promoting is almost hurting the business in general.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're pushing down the talent that works year round to be in those spots.
They want people to watch WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You know,
they won't sell them tickets.
No, I don't remember. Was it that way when we were kids watching wrestling?
No, the big names were there when we were watching.
Yeah.
Big names were there.
They were there people wrestling all were big year names. Round, though.
Yeah. But they never left. There weren't
have part-time people.
It's not like it is now. You know, Roman Reigns has wrestled like 11 matches this whole year in all of 2023.
During the territory days, the champion would wrestle like 500 times a year.
Yeah.
He would wrestle more than once a day.
Roman Reigns wrestled 11 matches in 2023, somewhere around there. 11 matches. Like I wrestled more than that in 2023.
I bet Brock Lesnar's around about the same number, right?
Was, yeah. You know, he's been gone for a while, but
is he around right now?
Mm-mm.
You think he'll be in the Mania picture, or will he be a Royal Rumble guy?
He'll probably show up
for the Rumble.
Well, for Mania at least, or the night after. They always say somebody for the night after. They need to get
back to that. The night after thing used to be huge.
Well, Vince McMahon screwed it up this year, but now he's completely gone, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. Yeah, the night after Mania was like better than Mania itself.
Well, you know, sometimes. Like that night NXT was going head to head with AEW, and they had on NXT they had John Cena, Paul Heyman, The Undertaker.
But did they even do anything, or they just come out and
but it do their entrance to get people to watch?
Did anybody take a bump or give a bump at all?
No. I mean,
well, just do it over the Trinitron. Do it from your living room with a green screen.
Like John Cena was in one guy's corner while Paul Heyman was in another guy's corner, you know. And then The Undertaker came out and choke slammed.
I still say we go back and watch that episode.
Rick Steiner's
Can you watch it on YouTube?
And that was it. Oh, it's on Peacock. We can go find it on Peacock, I'm sure.
Let's watch it after we get done with all this.
But
just because I haven't seen it and The Undertaker came out.
Well, I mean, you're forced to watch like 6 or 8 terrible last matches.
I got fast forward on my computer.
Just to see.
And we'll be sitting here bullshitting anyway.
But The Undertaker came out as the American Badass instead of the...
I respect him for that because he retired the Undertaker character. Yeah. So if he's going to come out, he's like, well, I'm going to do American Badass because...
Well, it fit because... that's what Braun Breaker's new thing is, Badass Braun Breaker or something like that, or the Bad Dog or something.
It would almost water down his retirement if he came out as the Dead Man. As much as, you know, we want to see it again.
I mean, wrestlers always kill their own legacy.
Ric Flair did, buddy.
Ric Flair's terrible.
I love me some Ric Flair. Don't hate.
He's on TV every week right now.
And I'm fine with him being on TV. I'm not fine with him wrestling. That match is the hardest match I've ever had to watch in my life. Yeah. I wish I hadn't watched it.
And he's wanting to do another.
I would pay somebody like $50 to erase that from my memory.
Like they were afraid he was going to die.
I'm willing to give up $50 of my hard-earned money if I could not remember Ric Flair's last match.
I know. And they were seriously afraid he was going to die.
He seriously kind of did. I'm pretty sure they had to eject him like in a heart with adrenaline before it was over.
Well, now it's AEW doesn't even pay his salary. His energy drink company, the company that makes the Woo energy drinks.
Yeah. He's making a bunch of money on
they're actually paying his salary to be on AEW TV.
The same company that does Mike Tyson's marijuana. He's got the Ric Flair like Woo marijuana. He's making good money off that. And I have no problems with him coming out, doing commentary, cutting promos.
Oh, no.
Being a valet. But he does not need to get in that ring and wrestle. He's like 75 years old. He was.
Well, they're also
he's the GOAT. He's the best, but his time is over.
Sting's last match is going to be a big letdown.
You think?
It's him and Darby Allin against the Young Bucks. I mean, like,
when is that?
Like, think about all of Sting's career and think about who he should be fighting in his very last match.
Well, it should be Flair, but Flair just can't do it anymore.
Well, no, but I mean, even aside, he's been with Darby Allin this whole time. That would have been a good match, or at least something that I could see that happening. But like, it doesn't make any.
These older guys, they want to put them in a 4-way match or a tag team match because then they got time to like catch their breath when they're not tagged in.
But and then still they can get the shape. I mean, he's not as good a shape as he was.
When they rest up in the corner, they can get that hot tag. But they can get the hot tag and come in and just destroy everybody, clear the ring.
But you think about why they Sting's whole career, and it's like, but I think. I said something too. Somebody was like, they were like, this is a big letdown for Sting's retirement match. And I was like, no, dude, this is Sting's AEW retirement match. Like, I still think he'll, like, if you're going to retire nowadays, you're not going to do it in AEW.
Do it in WWE. You really think he'll do it?
I think he'll.
Hey, I'm not going to say
probably shit. Set out a couple years.
I would have bet pretty big numbers on the fact that CM Punk would never be back in WWE.
I know.
And here he is. Bebopping right back up in there.
Everybody always. Oh, TNA is starting. They went back to being called TNA again.
Did they bring back the 6-sided ring?
No. But they kind of showed out a little bit.
You know who squashed that?
They've got Dolph Ziggler. He signed with them.
Oh, good. He's good.
They've got you remember Dana Brooks from WWE?
Nope.
She signed with them. She was she was kind of a bodybuilder for a while, and then she lost all her weight and turned into a regular diva. But, they brought in a couple of big names for this whole let's go back to TNA thing.
Who would you like? Let's play fantasy wrestling here for a minute. Who would you like to see Sting wrestle for his true last match? And
it can still go.
It can't be Ric Flair. It possibly could be Steamboat. That would be good.
Well, that's who Ric Flair was.
Nash is done
for his last match, and Steamboat
Kevin Nash. He said repeatedly on Click This that he's never going to wrestle again in any capacity. X-Pac, that's him and Sting never had just a huge rivalry.
No.
Luger's out, obviously. Been out for a long time.
I mean, you go back, Sting's biggest career was in WCW. But there's hardly anybody left in WCW.
Who's left that he had a big rival
he had rivals with are all either dead or just can't do it
anymore. Yeah, he didn't hit the drugs and stuff and all that.
I mean, your last one, to be honest, Sting's last one should have been Undertaker's last one.
That's now I truly believe the Undertaker will never wrestle again. In any capacity.
But that should have been both of them's last one.
It definitely should have.
And that graveyard match, Sting and Undertaker could have pulled off because Sting did one almost just like it in AEW not long after.
Yep, that should have been them too.
And AJ pulled it off, so they could have done that if nothing else. But instead of wrestling Triple H, Sting should have wrestled Undertaker, and it should have been both of them.
Yeah, Sting never had a rivalry with Triple H, and the only thing they were doing is WCW versus WWE.
And then that way,
I'm like, oh my god, how tired is that?
And the DX in there.
How tired is that?
That's the only reason.
That's from 25 years ago.
And they could have done NWO and DX without Sting and and Triple H that without that match, because Sting, he was a part of the Red NWO.
And of course, they didn't let Sting get over. And I'm like, what's the point of bringing somebody in that's never been in WWE?
Well, they had bigger plans for Sting, and then he got injured. I think that was a big deal. I feel like they were planning on the next year being Sting and Undertaker. But then Sting got injured, and that just didn't work out.
So who then?
I don't know, man.
It would be a good send-off.
I mean, for the last 3 years or however long, he's been teaming with Darby Allin. Like, to me, that makes, if you're just going to pick one and you're trying to put the Darby, you've been working with the kid for 3 years now. And
I'm speaking more on the terms of last match ever. Like, if you really believe he'll come back to WWE to retire, who will his retirement match be?
WWE. I mean,
yeah, if past or present.
Well, he's never had any feuds with anybody that's in WWE now. He's never had any feuds.
What does Booker T do now? Does he wrestle?
No, I guess he could, but
could Mankind do it one more time?
I don't know. I mean, I can't think of anybody. Unless, like you said, Steamboat. Now that would.
I mean, him and Jericho had a pretty good run there. A very good run, actually.
I mean, to me, that would even be better than what they're doing. Because of both of them being in AEW, that would even be better than what they're doing.
But who would be the bad guy, or would it just be Icon versus Icon, like Hogan and The Rock kind of thing?
Well, Jericho's killing. He's another one that's killing his own legacy too.
Like I think it should be Icon versus Icon if they do it like that.
But I don't know who you would do. Like I still can't say.
Steve-O's the only one I could possibly think of, and I don't even think he would want to do it.
Now, if you went back to TNA and started thinking about those, maybe Sting and Kurt Angle again, because they did a lot in TNA.
Kurt Angle had his last few matches that I saw. I mean, he's broke his neck 6 times. I mean, God bless him for having such illustrious career.
Nobody's going to
get 7 broken necks, but
like with Sting, even though he still got it and can still go some, it's like nobody's going to put, like Sting's not going to put on a 5-star match with anybody, So, I mean, it doesn't really matter who you put against him. You just got to work on their strengths, and that be it.
Whatever you put him against, we'll have to sell it.
Bring him in at next year's Royal Rumble. Let him get eliminated like some cheap shot elimination.
And whoever that was.
And then he's in the Hall of Fame. Match. Well, he's already in the Hall of Fame, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
And they just let him retire. Let him get one last run like in a Royal Rumble match. That way it don't matter who the feud is.
Who you think's the big...
They wouldn't do it, though.
Who you think is going to be the big Hall of Fame inductee this year? They've been putting off Batista because they wanted Batista to do it during 2020, but
he didn't want to do it because of COVID. He wanted a live crowd there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's probably if they can get him, if his Hollywood schedule lines up.
Well, as far as I know, he's still making a lot of movies, but as far as I know, I think he's done with
oh yeah, he's done with Drax.
Yeah, because he don't want to keep up that body. He can't. They were fussing because he wore a shirt in the last Guardians of the Galaxy. A lot of people were fussing because he wore a shirt, and he's like,
dude,
he's like 55 years old.
Yeah, 55, 56 years old. I can't look like I did when I was 25.
So, which they could have done CGI on him. It wouldn't really matter, but still. So I don't know who you think the Hall of Fame.
Probably him.
I got to thinking. I was wondering if they're
running out of people.
Well, they'll
never really run out of people, but they're running out of people that
the big names.
I remember the big holy shit moment for Hall of Fame inductee announcement was when they announced Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah,
we were sitting here watching it, and we were all like,
and then he died the next day.
And he died the next after like filming his own eulogy.
Yeah,
basically on his final like promo, he walks out of the ring, goes to his hotel, gets up the next day to go to his car, and died in the parking lot. That's crazy.
Kind of poetic justice if you think about it.
But man, if you listen to that promo in retrospect, it's almost like he knew. I mean, I know he didn't. It was a massive heart attack, but wow. it was almost like he was giving his.
Well, they're running out of the big names, so.
But that's what I was talking about, like a moment like that where you're like, whoa, holy shit! Like they would have to do like JC the Body Venture or something.
At some point,
he's probably in the Hall of Fame.
At some point in 5-10 years, it'll be John Cena, Randy Orton.
Oh yeah,
those guys. You know,
but you're not going to induct somebody that's still got.
No, but it's like right now they're kind of at that breaking point where like, who is it that you ended up?
And then there's some people that have been re-inducted because they were a part of a different faction.
Yeah.
Did they ever induct Evolution?
No, they haven't yet. They've done DX.
So Ric Flair will have how many rings? Like how many rings does Ric Flair have right now?
Ric Flair, and then they inducted the Four Horsemen. So he's got those two.
So if they do Evolution, he'd
get another one.
He'll have 3.
Triple H would get 2 from DX and Evolution. But I mean, I guess that.
Oh, we got 10 minutes.
We are running out of time.
Man, we have just been straight up bullshitting.
Pretty much.
Most everybody that don't like wrestling has turned it off already.
Well, we didn't go too long into wrestling.
That's why I kind of saved it for last.
20 minutes.
If we started out with wrestling, I think we'd have lost some people.
Yeah. Well, that was if Kelly wasn't going to be here tonight. That's pretty much the whole podcast was going to be about catching up on wrestling and that kind of stuff. So let's talk for 5 of the 10 minutes. We've got to see, are y'all willing to play the bad guys in Dungeons and Dragons?
I mean, I
am
next week.
I'll have to roll up a new character.
Everybody will.
Which is fine.
That don't take us long no more. No. You know, it used to be like a big deal for us to roll new characters, but now
I gotta hurry up and buy me a new Surface so I can start using D&D Beyond.
Dude, eBay. I got mine on eBay and got it cheap.
Yeah, that's what
hell. You can just get a cheap. They got cheap tablets at Walmart for like $80.
I want a Surface. I liked my Surface.
I mean, one of my kids has had his little tablet that I bought him for like. I think I paid $60 or $80 for it. And man, he's on that thing constantly. Like I'm on my cell phone.
With the service, I felt like I wasn't
for like
limited.
$60, or I mean for like 3 years now for $60.
I didn't feel like I was limited to anything. Like I could do anything I wanted to do on it. Whereas on like an iPad, you can only do like the iMac, iPhone stuff.
$60 for just something that you're.
But what do you want to do that's not on there? That's the question.
What do you mean?
You said you feel limited on the iPad. I don't. I can do any and everything on my iPad.
Maybe it's limited to what I know how to do. Like I know how to do my 3D printer, and I know how to do all my software for Photoshop editing, audio editing. Even video editing. I can do all that on a Windows-based computer. Now I can do a lot on a iPad, iPhone, but there's certain things I can't. And I didn't feel that way.
Yeah, I can't do much of my 3D printing stuff on the iPad.
I'm not saying there's not a way to do it. There's just not a way to do it that I'm familiar.
Yeah.
Well, all right, y'all. We got 7 minutes to wrap up.
Yeah, where the hell's the bell? Where's Hell's Bell?
Hell's Bells.
Seriously, it was just right here. We used it on the 200th episode.
That may be in one of those drawers.
Well, there is one in this. One of there. See it right there.
Mm-hmm.
The OG bell is broken. That may be it over there.
There's 2 bells that's Mark III right there.
And they have to use it.
Nothing about the one you're looking for is Mark III.
Mark 1 died.
Mark 1 got lost.
I'll just say ding, ding, ding.
No, it died. I don't think this was broke. Oh, yeah. No, it's warped. It's all cockeyed.
It is crooked.
You can get 1 ding out of it. That's about it.
It's got 1 ding left.
So we'll have to use it for our last ding. We got 6 minutes.
Everybody go listen to episode 200 if you hadn't. That was a real good episode. Oh, the after show is going to be awesome. we're recording this out of order. We actually haven't recorded it yet, but it'll be out before this is. So, yeah, thanks for listening to episode 201.
201.
Hey, I had to hit it 3 times to get a D.
Yeah.
Of Real Pop Culture, we've been broadcasting live from high atop the first and only floor of the Kill J headquarters at the Kill J Ranch. I have to hit it 3 times.
It worked.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Love you, ain't it?
Oh, you brought that back, huh?
That's all I've ever said.
I was talking to
Seacrest out.
Real Pop Culture.
To say you hadn't been recording yet.
I haven't been recording yet, so I can't do it as a sound check. But all right, we're recording now. So la 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 la.
Na 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 ba ba ba. Thank you, Real Pop Culture. Goodbye.
I'm gonna release that as an episode.
Be our most listened to yet.